Hey everybody, it's Magic Prepper, and I wanted to bring this story to your attention just in case you weren't aware of it, and I do think it's something worth keeping an eye on when it comes to the possibility of ammunition prices going up, and possibly running into some availability issues as well. Are we going to lose priority when it comes to an important ammunition supply here in the United States based on what's happening over in Europe? This is a real thing that you should be considering right now based on some of these movements. Now, I do want to mention that Midway USA is the biggest supporter of the channel, and of course, thanks to them, I can get out on the range and actually dump some ammo, but that might be more of a precarious thing to do here in the near future. So on March 6th, Reuters reported that Czech defense group CSG, also known as Czechoslovak Group, is planning an ammo venture in Ukraine. A joint venture where they're going to invest hundreds of millions of euros into building up Ukraine's defense production capacity, okay? So CSG currently supplies ammo, tanks, howitzers, artillery shells, heavy equipment, all kinds of stuff to Ukraine. And with everything going on there, of course, the European military defense industry is booming economically. Okay, well, sounds like that's something that would make sense for a business to do. Well, on March 7th, it was reported that there's a Czech-led plan to buy 800,000 rounds of ammunition, and that they just recently secured all the funding required to get that ammo to Ukraine. And this was specifically for artillery. It was 500,000 rounds of 155 millimeter shells and 300,000 rounds of 122 millimeter shells. But the Czech Republic has taken the lead on efforts to source more ammunition from other countries in order to support the Ukrainian war effort. Why does that matter? What are you talking about? Why is any of this relevant to ammunition supplies or prices here in the United States? Well, I'll tell you why. Because on March 7th, it was also reported that Vista Outdoor revealed in a filing this week that the US government deadline for reviewing the $1.9 billion bid on its ammunition company from CSG is just weeks away. So that's right. If you didn't know, CSG has been trying to acquire Vista Outdoor brand's ammunition branch of the company since last year. And just now it's being reported that we're weeks away from the government reviewing that purchase and clarifying whether or not it will have any impact on national security. So the Committee on Foreign Investment into the United States has to review sales like this one in order to avoid any national security risks. And then once they approve it, which Vista is saying is very likely, then CSG will likely take control of Vista Outdoor brand's ammunition wing. Well, that's interesting based on the fact that this exact company and the country that they are from are heavily invested in prioritizing Ukraine when it comes to ammunition distribution. Now, of course, most of that right now is related to artillery, tank shells, and everything else related to what it is they're using over there on the war front. But there's no reason to believe that this wouldn't have any impact on small arms munitions as well. And the fact is that they are trying to find other countries to source ammunition from to support the Ukrainian war effort. And let's not kid ourselves, it's also because it's very economically viable for this business to do so. Sure, they're making billions of dollars with all of this ammunition that they are selling to Ukraine. Now, a company here in the United States called MNC Capital Partners LP did actually try to buy Vista Outdoors as a whole, the entire company, not just the ammunition wing. Their offer was declined. Vista said that it was undervalued when it came to what they offered, but their goal was not only to acquire the company, but to keep an important supply of ammunition and everything else related to what the company produces here in the United States, and maintaining control of that company by a United States business, which means they would have hopefully more of a vested interest in what's best for our country when it comes to such a large ammunition production capacity. Who or what brands of ammunition does Vista Outdoors currently control? And this is where it gets really important, because these are very big brands, and this could have an impact on us here in the near future, which is why I'm just saying to keep an eye on this. I'm not saying that this is going to cause some kind of ammo shortage or anything crazy like that. I just want you to be aware of it and understand that there's a possibility of these ammunition brands becoming more expensive or harder to acquire if this company decides that the ammunition needs to be prioritized somewhere else other than just on the civilian and commercial market here in the United States. So the brands that they currently control are brands like Federal, CCI, which many of you might not be aware is also Blazer, Remington, Spear, right? So some of the best ammunition brands that we currently have, I mean, Remington, but the other ones are really good. And this company and the country that they come from are highly invested and highly motivated to get as much ammunition and military-related equipment into the hands of Ukrainian soldiers as possible. So this isn't a commentary on what we should or shouldn't be doing for Ukraine or anything along those lines. This is me just letting you know that this is happening, and that if ammunition is an important part of your preparedness planning, well, this is something to keep an eye on. There's no reason to go out and panic buy a bunch of ammo or anything like that right now. But it is something to be aware of, because handing control of such a large amount of what's available on the civilian market regarding ammunition to a country that is clearly invested in providing as much as they can to Ukraine could have some consequences, especially when it comes to availability and price. And so without being aware of this, you might not know what's happening all of a sudden when your favorite Federal HSTs or Spear Gold Dots are no longer affordable or available, right? And this could apply to any other type of ammunition related to those brands. So I just thought this was worth talking about, because it's one thing to isolate this story in the sense of, oh, well, you know, this Czechoslovakian company is trying to buy Vista Outdoors ammunition, right? But then once you put it into the context of other things that they're doing and other things that they're involved in regarding setting up joint ventures in Ukraine to enhance production capacity, how they're looking for other countries to source ammunition from in order to get over to that country, and how the president of the Czech Republic, as well as their company and their country, are all trying to figure out ways to get more and more ammunition over to those front lines. At least from my perspective, I would say the possibility of us losing priority over that ammunition supply is relatively high, especially regarding the fact that the current government we have, in the sense of administrations and everything else, seems very willing to continually fund what's happening over there, and would be more than happy to present them with the opportunity to remove some of this ammunition from the civilian market. I don't know, am I cynical? Maybe, but I think it's relevant. So I wanted to make you aware of this, because look, if we're not paying attention, we're gonna get caught off guard, and then suddenly everybody who still isn't quite where they wanna be when it comes to their supplies and their inventory is gonna have a much, much harder time. And the biggest issue for me is that if this happens and I suddenly can't afford some of my favorite ammunition brands, then how am I gonna ever take my pocket carry guns out and actually still have a good time? So that's an issue, okay? So let me know in the comments below what you think about this. Do you think that there's the possibility that this is gonna cause bigger issues in the sense of availability and price? Do you think this is nothing to worry about, even though there's a little bit more to the story than just your typical company acquisition in the sense of big money, right? Or do you think this could have far-reaching consequences? I don't know. Let me know your thoughts down below, and anything else you need from me, go to magicprepper.com. And besides that, that's gonna be it for Magic Prepper.